the official in-game stats and playstyles has been leaked for every single hero. So in today's video, we're going to go through all the brand new heroes, talk about the cards, and also talk about how much they're going to be when the new game's out. So between now and the 6th of October, I'm going to be uploading a daily free eafc 25 trading guide. This will include everything to do on the web app to make as many coins as possible with both trading and investing. I'll be talking about the full release, what we expect to see regarding the market, and there'll also be a daily updated investing guide, all in there, updated every day for free. No gimmicks whatsoever, all you gotta do is click on the Google Docs link on the top link of the description. So in today's video, what we're gonna be doing is going through every single one of the 12 brand new heroes. We're gonna be talking about the leaked in-game stats, gonna be talking about their playstyle pluses, and more importantly, I guess for my channel, I'm going to be comparing them to last year's sort of players and last year's new players, and we're going to talk about how much they're going to cost, because of course some of these cards are very up in the air. They could be going for anything, and as I say, we try and give you guys an educated prediction on how much you guys are going to have to, fork out for these players. Before we do start as well, I will be covering some gold cards, some sort of, like hidden beasts or cheap gems or whatever in future videos. So if there's any cards you guys have either seen online or want me to have a little look into and give you my 2 cents on how much do I think there'll be when the game comes out, maybe the new Rashford that's dropped a few ratings and so on, do make sure to drop them down below in the comment section, as I will be taking your guys' suggestions and answering your questions on how much players are going to be when the game comes out, hopefully helping you with squad building. So there are 12 heroes to go through. There are some really good ones like Hazard, and there are some guys who, God knows, we've never heard of them, and they're generally worse than any heroes we've seen before. Lucky us. As I've generally spent probably about an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours even maybe, looking into these cards, looking into how much they're going to be, pairing them up with a hero from last year, looking at what those price trends of last year are. So if you want to drop a like, that would be greatly appreciated for the hours we put in. So we are starting off with Hazard, and Hazard has got a very, very nice card. Of course, he's literally the main selling point, I guess, of the new heroes. So Playstyle Plus isn't shown there, but his Playstyle Plus is Tactical, which is very nice. It's obviously the one that helps you with that sort of more precision dribbling. And yeah, I mean, it's a very nice card. Double 4-star, 91 pace. He's got himself 91 dribbling with really, really even, stats across that dribbling. Not the best physicality, but again, it is, a very good representation of Hazard. So the player that we've compared Hazard to is actually Abdel Pele, and it's insane how close his card is stat for stat. So they have the exact same pace, they have the exact same shooting, he's got 3 less passing, they have the exact same dribbling, he's got +1 physical, and that's it. They've got the exact same skill moves and weak foot. Now Hazard is representing a better league, which is what a fair bit of demand for the heroes is. Obviously Mbappe leaving the Ligue 1 makes the Ligue 1 definitely a lot less premium. You still got Dembele, still got Hakimi, still got Marquinhos, but it's not the Mbappe, which is the main reason why I guess people were building into Ligue 1 teams. Whereas obviously the Prem's still got a lot of hard hitters. You got Van Dijk, you got Alisson. I don't know if Kyle Walker's really good, but obviously you got Kyle Walker, and of course there are plenty of attackers and Salah, Haaland, and so on and so on. Now, how much was Abdel Pele's card? Well, his card was only 800k, and then it was 700k 1 month later. So the top end heroes seem to be holding quite decent. Now, after the first month, Abdel Pele actually then proceeded to go and drop 100k every single week going into February, where he ended up at about 200k. So Pele, again, around about 800k. But I would say that Hazard is going to be a bit more demanded. Obviously, Abdel Pele was in the game for about 2 years, going for last year, whereas obviously Hazard is brand new. Now, if we look at the most premium icon, or most premium hero, we're looking at Ginola. Ginola last year was 2.8 million, and then he actually held to 2.3 million even 2 months later. So he held his value really, really well, Ginola, because he was a top-end hero. So I'm going to say that Hazard is going to be between Ginola and Pele. Now, Hazard has worse stats than Ginola. He also doesn't possess the 5-star skills, 5-star weak foot. And Ginola last year obviously was getting that strong link to Mbappe. I think even Ginola is going to be cheaper this year, which is another reason why Hazard will be dropped down, because they're both left wingers. So I have Hazard down for around about 1.2 to 1.5 million. Compared to the top end icon, which again we've covered in another video, which is Bale. Again, I think Bale was about 3.5 to 4.5 million. Again, if you question that, you can go and watch the video. There's complete justification of it. So yeah, 1.2 to 1.5 million for the most expensive brand new hero. I guess again not as interested or not as insane as the icons. So I say 1.2 to 1.5 million for the first month. And then I'd say after 1 month, I think he'll still probably hold about $1 million. Well, after 2 months even, he'll probably hold about $1 million, looking at how they've done previously. Because again, the very top end heroes just hold their value. They don't really get replaced by the first few promos, so that's why they're decent. So that's what we're going to end off Hazard. The card we're going to look at after Hazard is going to be Hamsik. Hamsik, another one of the real top end new heroes. So Hamsik comes with a long pass, which is decent. He's got himself 4-star skills, 5-star weak foot. Every stats is above 80 apart from defending. So yeah, his card is looking really, really good. So the most comparable card Hamsik is, it may not be a surprise, is Marquisio. Marquisio, I believe, also has 5 out of the 6, if not actually 6 out of the 6 stats being above 80. So let's go and compare them to Marquisio. Marquisio doesn't actually have a playstyle plus on his card. He's got 1 higher pace, he's got 6 higher shooting, this is Hamsik over Marquisio. He's got 2 higher passing, he's got the same dribbling, he's got 5 less defending and 1 more physical. So I'd say his card also dominates that. He's also got 1-star weak foot higher than Marquisio. Now Marquisio was at 860k on the release and then managed to hold even 600k after 1 month. Now after 1 month he just started dropping more, I guess, more extreme. And the reason the cards drop more after a month is we just start hitting bigger promos. For the first month, it isn't too crazy. I mean, what do we have? We had like Trailblazers. We then had either Radioactive and The Amnesty. And I think it's the promo after that. I think it might be the first live promo. So Thunderstruck is, or maybe even Road to the Finals, is where we seem to have cards that kept up with a lot of these heroes. Also, after 1 month is when we're getting those Hero and Icon SBCs, whereas in the first month we're getting Hero and Icon Loan SBCs, which was arguably a bit of a joke. But yeah, back to Marquisio, he was 860k, then held 600k after a month. Well, I'm going to say Hamsik being a better card, arguably worse nation links, but in the end of the day, using heroes for either them just getting chemistry no matter what, or them giving that league chemistry, which of course they're both from the Serie A. I can say Hamsik is going to be about 150k more, around about 1 to 1.2 million. And then after 2 months, because he's a bit better than Marquisio, I actually think he'll hold his value a lot better. And then I think he'll still be about 800k after the first 2 months. I think, if you wanted Hamsik in your team, I think he should hold his value pretty nicely. Someone that you don't have to worry about holding value because he'll have absolutely zero value in the first place is Noor. Now his league that he's representing is the Saudi League. This card is comparable, and barely even comparable because he's generally worse than any hero we've seen before, to Rickon and Dempsey. This guy's only going to have value if we have a Saudi League Evo, but then even then we've still got ourselves Al-Jabab and we've got ourselves Al-Awari, so he's literally the third. Imagine being the third choice Saudi League hero. But I guess maybe second choice budget one if that's your selling point. Well, even in comparison to Rickon, literally the worst hero. He has 3 less pace, 2 less shooting. He's got 3 more passing. He's got 1 more dribbling. He's got 6 more defending and 15 more physical. So I guess actually maybe an even card to Rickon. Apart from that, Rickon gets German Bundesliga links and this guy gets Saudi League links. Which I would argue is a worse league. Now, maybe you could argue that the getting linked in the Saudi league is harder, and as a result, actually, by him being in a worse league, the league is better, if that makes any sense. But again, this card is just utter trash. I'd be very surprised if Milinkovic-Savic honestly doesn't have a card that's nearly as good. Again, doesn't offer the same chemistry. Well, Rickon at the beginning of the game was 30k, and then after 1 month, 20k. And again, I think the same for Noor. I think in the first month, he can be about 20 to 25k. After the first month, he's 15k. I think, unless again you get link investments to heroes, link investments to objective players, SBCs, I don't see there being any demand. Turn about there not being any demand. Now on to Howard, because we wanted another hero Prem goalkeeper, but this time worse. His main comparison, no playstyle plus, even though, well actually I say that, but none of the Icon goalkeepers had elite playstyle pluses, so maybe he's going to have a playstyle plus and it's just not leaked yet. Well, Howard is most comparable to Dudek, I think be no surprise, but he's worse. He's got 1 less diving, 1 less handling, 11 more kicking. So unless he can kick the ball directly from his goal mouth into the goal, I don't know if he did that against Joe Hart. I might be getting that mixed up with someone else. Yeah, I can't see there being much demand. He's got 4 less reflexes and 6 less speed and 1 less positioning. He also doesn't have as much hype as Dudek does in terms of club following. no offence Everton fans, but they're not quite as internationally and globally as big as Liverpool, and as a result of him not having a bigger global following, you're not going to get as many past and present teams as you might get Liverpool teams, and likewise people buying him for like sentimental reasons, which, you know, you see happen quite a lot on FIFA. Some players are just crazy prices because of either who they used to play for or who they're currently playing for. Now going back to Dudek, he was 80k on release, which I was quite surprised by, and dropped 10k every single week, which meant in around about the early December, Dudek was already 15k, near probably SBC fodder. But I think the exact same for Howard. I think Howard will start off about 50k, so 30k cheaper than Dudek. I don't think he's got much hype because he's a new hero. And I think he'll drop to about 20k within a month. Just because, again, it's an 85 rated Prem goalkeeper. There's probably going to be about 4 or 5 gold Prem goalkeepers who are going to be better than him. And again, I think he'll drop to 20k even faster if we get multiple promo Prem keepers, because keepers aren't expensive in this game, at less than maybe a hero and Maicon. Promo goalkeepers are always so cheap, which means there's such a fast chance of Howard getting replaced. So again, start off at 50, drop to about 20k in a month. We now move to a very nice advertising player, and that is going to be Yap Stam. So Yap Stam, very, very nice card, very nice pace, very nice physicality, very nice defending. Comes with a playstyle plus of, I think it's Bruiser, or whatever the strength one is. Now, easy comparison to Vincent Kompany. Now, I'd say that, again, you know, it's my football knowledge, whatever, but I would say Kompany is probably more, I don't want to say famous, but I would say maybe a bigger name than Yap Stam. So Kompany, I think, has got that going for him. Now, what's interesting is Kompany, it was actually Kompany's first year being in FIFA last year, so comparing Kompany's price last year to Yap Stam's price this year is going to be really, really good, because, you know, Kompany was exciting last year, whereas Yap Stam is exciting this year. Well, what's his card compared to Kompany? Well, he's got 3 more pace, 6 less passing, 2 less dribbling, 1 less defending, and +2 physical. So a very even card with Kompany. So how was Kompany's price last year? Started off at 950k, went down at 650k in a month, and then promos kind of then seemed to catch up with Kompany as he went from 650k all the way down to 350k in between month 1 and month 2. So what do I think with Yap Stam? I do think he's going to be cheaper than Kompany. Kompany was also a 90 rating, he's 87 rated. I think Yap Stam starts at 800k, I think he drops to 500k in a month, and then I think it's about 250 between month 1 and month 2. So yeah, again, should be, especially compared to some of the heroes we've looked at, quite exciting. But yeah, again, I think probably after a month or two, 83 pace, 89 defending, and 88 physicality, it's probably going to get caught up quite nicely with promos. Next player we're going to head on to is going to be Sasic. Now, sadly for her, she is one of the highest rated heroes, yet doesn't have a playstyle plus. Which means that we get ourselves another slow striker with good shooting and meh dribbling. Just in case Morientes, come on Dan, Gomez, Melito, and all those others weren't already enough. Well, most comparable to is Mario Gomez. She's got obviously a worse league. Sorry, go back to Yap Stam. Obviously, he's representing the Prem. There you go. Back to her. She's representing the German Bundesliga woman, which again, compared to Gomez, is definitely a less desirable league. Bundesliga women seem to be one of the only women's league that wasn't used. You know, Prem seemed to be used a bit, Ligue 1 seemed to be used a bit, MLS seemed to be used a bit, whereas the Bundesliga quite neglected. Bear in mind it had a fair few teams amongst them. Well, yeah, in comparison to Gomez, neither of them have playstyle pluses. She's got 1 less pace, 1 less shooting. She's got 2 more passing. She's got 1 more dribbling, 2 more physical, and they both have the same skill move and weak foot. So Mario Gomez, at the beginning of the game was 110, and within a month dropped to 45k. So you can see on some of these lower end heroes, they just don't hold their value, because again, promo cards and Evos and SBCs are going to be better than her easily within the first month. So yeah, Mario Gomez went from 110 to 45k within the first month. Within the second month, we went from 45k to 25k, near enough leaving him at fodder. So I think the exact same trend will happen with Sasic. I can see it being 100k at the beginning. People want to try these new cards. Then drop from 100k to 40k within the first month, and then 40k literally down to SBC fodder within the following month. I guess that's a good thing for her. At least she's high-rated SBC fodder. And that is not quite halfway yet. We're now going to head on to Roberto. Roberto is quite an interesting one, because I think it's definitely going to be dependent on where his old positions are, because he can kind of play anywhere on the pitch, and he's got some cool things about him. So, first off, he's got tactical. I quite like tactical for obviously attacking players. you know, is tactical wasted on someone who's got 78 defending who may have left back position utility. You know, I'd imagine they'll end up having at minimum left wing back, and left mid. Again, I'm not too familiar with Roberto, you know, researching where Roberto played in his time. Obviously heard of the name, but yeah, so I'm not quite sure where the old positions are going to be other than left mid. Roberto is representing the Bundesliga. And yeah, so the comparable to his card, it's a bit of a hard one because he's got 5-star skill moves, and that can be quite desirable. But it's quite rare to have someone who has 5-star skill moves with shooting and defending, which are the same. You know, it's quite rare for someone to be skinning people if they're, you know, I guess relied on defending wise. So comparable, I've put into Okocha, just because Okocha is a 5-star skiller. Now, Okocha was representing better league. Obviously, he was given Prem players chemistry, whereas he gets Bundesliga. Prem easily beats the Bundesliga. Okocha's playstyle plus was FLAIR, if I'm not wrong. And sadly, kills me to say, but FLAIR is not very desirable. And whereas, what's it called? Roberto has got tactical, which I'd say is more desirable. He also, I'd say Roberto has a more desirable nation, but I don't think nation really comes too much into play when it comes to heroes. They both have 5-star skill moves. Roberto had 1 less weak foot. They've got the same pace. Roberto has 4 less shooting. He's also got 3 less passing, if I'm not wrong, 4 less dribbling, but he has got 38 more defending and 20 more physical, which makes, again, Roberto as a bit of a hard one to compare because, you know, offensively he's quite interesting. He's got the 5-star skills, which not many heroes have, but then there's not going to be many that have such good defending. Now, Okocha in the first month was 750k, but then went all the way down to 400k in a month. And then the next month he then halved in price from 400 to 200. So, I would imagine that Roberto is going to come in probably around about, I'd say less than Okocha, I'd say he's going to come in around about 500k. Now again, it's going to depend on his position utility. I imagine he drops from 500 to probably 300k in the first month, and then probably from 300 to maybe 150 1 month later. So that is Roberto, and do we have another one here? We do. We've got ourselves Blaise Matuidi. Blaise Matuidi, quite an interesting one. Again, not too many previous heroes too comparable to Blaise Matuidi. This guy, by the way, was legendary. Back when I first started streaming, I think it was back in like FIFA 12, 13, the Matuidi, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I think Jeremy Menez link, when you used to run it in a 4-2-2, it was beautiful. Well, yeah, so there's not too many cards like him, which could work really nicely in his favour. Now, him being French and Ligue 1, that's a perfect combo for getting chemistry. The only problem is again, the French Ligue 1's arguably been nerfed with Mbappe moving out of it. So, the closest CDM you can get to Blaise Matuidi, I believe, was Mascherano, who arguably is nowhere near Blaise Matuidi. But the problem is Matuidi's slightly worse than the other box-to-box set. Well, arguably a fair bit worse than the other box-to-box centre mid / CDM. Something like Kebler, who's got himself, I think, like 480 stats or 580 stats and 170 stat, and I don't think he quite holds up to that. But he's also a little bit better than Mascherano, who arguably is more of a centre than CDM. So it's a very hard one to compare. We've gone for Mascherano. Now, the playstyle plus that he's got is accurate plus passing. He's representing the Ligue 1, and the comparison to Mascherano, by no surprises, +7 pace, +17 shooting, +3 passing, +2 dribbling, -5 physical, and -5 defending, -1 physical. He's got the same skill moves and weak foot as Mascherano. He also represents a better nation. Don't know so much about the league. Maybe it's equal now with obviously Mbappe going to the La Liga and La Liga being quite strong last year. So Mascherano managed to actually hold 150k off for the first month, and then he went from 150 to 35k between month 1 and month 2. So again, more of the lower end cards just absolutely crashing. Now I don't think Blaise Matuidi will be as bad because, like I said, he was actually quite hard compared to anyone because no one really there's not many centre mids / CDMs that are this middle of the road. Again, you've got Kebler, who kind of represents a worse league, so she's a little bit cheaper, but she's a better card. So that could work in the favour of him. So, what do I think he's going to be? I think at the beginning he could be 200 to 250. I think he'll be, a fair bit more than Mascherano. I think he should also manage to hold probably around about 100 to 150k out for the first month. But I'll be honest with you, I think he's going to get absolutely butchered as soon as Hero and Icon SBCs come out. Because there's so many base icons that are better than this card. And again, there's a fair few heroes that are better than this card. So, I do think 200, 250 at the beginning of the game, I think he can be very hyped. But I do think this card can get absolutely butchered because it's nothing too crazy. So yeah, do expect him basically to half the price in the first month. and that is going to be Blaise Matuidi. Now I've got to head all the way back through to Guti. Now I'll be honest with you, when I first saw this card I did actually think it was a woman, because the graphics didn't do him any, he's got a luscious head of hair, but yeah, he is indeed a man in the modern day. So he does have a playstyle plus, despite being an 86 rated. He's got the ping pass, which is pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, stat-wise, 4-star skills, 3-star weak foot, 380 stats, 77 pace. It's a bit meh. It's giving very much like Gerrard, Lampard sort of player, but the 86 rating means he should be a fair bit cheaper. Now, we've compared him to Mustovi. Again, Guti representing the La Liga, Mustovi representing the La Liga. Mustovi, I think, had tactical, and I think tactical and ping pass are pretty on par when it comes to midfielders. Same league, he's got a better nation than Mustovi, I'd say. He's got 1 less pace than Mustovi, 1 less shooting than Mustovi, but he's got 2 more passing, 3 less dribbling, 1 more defending, 4 less physical, and 2 less weak foot. So he's actually a fair bit of a worse card than Mustovi, but he was kind of one of the best comparisons. Mustovi was 80k, and by no surprise, promo cards, gold cards kept up with Mustovi very fast, and it went from 80k to 25k in the first month. And I think the exact same thing with Guti. I think he starts off maybe about 70k, significantly worse than Mustovi, but he's a new card. He's also Spanish Liga, that's a pretty strong combo. And then I think it's about 25k after a month. I think after 1 month, promo cards are just going to absolutely do this guy over. You're going to get quite a fair few cheapo 80 in every single stat. So I can't see this guy holding very, very good value. Going on someone who should hold nice value, and that is Maicon. Now, obviously, he's a right back, and the problem with this guy is he's a right back. They've given him as a playstyle plus power shot. Now, obviously, he's got a decent shot. 92 shooting, 87 long shots. They've given him semi-decent dribblings, passing's pretty decent. So, definitely hitting down the wing, but also hitting down the wing with 86 pace is a bit annoying. We're comparing him to Lazaro. Lazaro representing the Bundesliga, Maicon representing the Serie A. I think it's pretty on-par league. Maybe Serie A a bit more demanded nowadays. But yeah, worse nation than Lazaro. I'd say Brazil doesn't have as favourable players as the French players. Lazaro has a better playstyle plus. He's got sliding, whereas Maicon only has power shot. Comparing the cards, Maicon has 1 less pace. He does have 23 shooting though, if that matters. I haven't really included shooting on other defensive heroes, and I haven't included defending on the offensive ones because I think it's kind of irrelevant when it comes to the pricing and if you care. But fullbacks, I guess you shoot a little bit with them, especially in recent years when attacking fullbacks is more of the meta, both in real life and in FIFA actually. So +1 passing on Lazaro. He's got +2 dribbling on Lazaro. He's got the same defending, and he's got 3 more physical. I'd say there also is a fair bit more demand for Maicon because of the name than Lazaro. Again, maybe I'm not familiar with Lazaro's history and so on, but Maicon, at least FIFA-wise for me, is a lot more demanded, a lot more renowned. So what happened with Lazaro's price? Where he was 208k in the first month, he managed to hold it to 200k in the first month. So like I say, some of these mid-tier heroes, really decent at actually holding their values. When you're looking at stuff like under 100k, they're just, after the first month, they're ropey. So yeah, for the first month, Lazaro held 280 to 200k. Then between the first month and the second month, we went from 200k to 80k. So they hold it for a month, and then after month 1 to month 2 is where the players get better, as in promo cards. So they get replaced, the heroes get replaceable. So Maicon, I think 400k at the back. I think after a month, we're looking at 300k, and then between month 1 and month 2, where again a lot of the mid-tier heroes drop, I think he goes from 300 to 150. So I think he's going to go in half in price. Now we move on to a very interesting card, and that is George's, because this is, a really nice looking card, right? 87 rated, centre back, French, Ligue 1 woman she's representing. She's got the Sly playstyle plus, not bad. 85 pace, 87 defending, 86 physicality. But a quick Wikipedia search tells me that she is 5'7". So really, I think it depends on her old positions. If you go and give her, I would say CDM, but that passing is abysmal. Even arguably on the out wide, the passing is a bit abysmal. Maybe as a left back and right back, it's okay. But yeah, the problem is a 5'7" centre back, and we're just coming off the back of a crossing meta. Where, again, even if, let's say, next year's FIFA, the meta isn't crossing, a lot of what happens is the back end of one FIFA will trickle into the next one. As in, through balls of the meta in one FIFA, because people do what they're familiar with. People then slowly adapt and learn metas and so on. So, my worry is that 5'7", it's like the 5'7" goalkeeper icon we covered yesterday. you know, is it going to be a problem? But then I look into it and, you know, people use Cordoba. Cordoba holds his price and he's always super demanded. And Cordoba's only 5'8", so there's only an inch between Cordoba and Georges. I'm sure there's a joke in that. So, let's go and compare it to Cordoba. Well, they're the same. I think the league demand's the same. I think French League and Women's actually quite well demanded. Same with the Serie A. Definitely she has a more demanded nation. I think France is more a demanded nation than Colombia. The one thing I would say is Cordoba is a very proven player. You know, 5'8" you'd question a lot of centre backs being 5'8", but you don't really question Cordoba as much because he's just proven year after year. Like, people still use him even with the meta. I would say also one thing that really does favour Cordoba is the playstyle plus. I don't think slide's bad for a centre back, but Cordoba has aerial on being a midget. I think if you're a midget, having aerial is brilliant because it just lets you basically lets you double jump. Whereas if you're a midget and you don't have aerial, you know, just everything's flying over your head. So yeah, I think that's kind of like one of the main things that will determine the price. Regarding stat for stat, she's got 1 less pace than Cordoba, she's got 1 more passing than Cordoba, she's got 3 less defending and 1 less physical. Cordoba would manage to hold 400k for a month and a half, he just didn't drop. Which again, going back to more expensive heroes, hold their value more because they're just not replaced by promo cards. And then after a month, Cordoba dropped. So, sorry, after a month and a half, Cordoba dropped. I think he dropped to around about 200k in a month after that. So what do I think Georgia is going to be? Now, I think it's going to be I think she's one of the only players that we kind of have to just see what it is. You know, it might be that the meta you can get away with using a 5'7" centre back. It might be that everyone's crossing, going off of the back of last year's meta, and she's just going to get absolutely done over. And, you know, the women goalkeepers, just like last year, women goalkeepers weren't used that much. Women centre backs weren't really used that much. She could very much have that. So I'd say 250k, but I think she is probably the most meta-dependent card on how it goes. If she's getting absolutely done over, she goes down to like 70k, 100k within a month. If, you know, the height isn't too much of an issue, maybe she goes up from 250 to 300k. I think she definitely has a lot more of a chance of going up or down than other cards, depending on, you know, if the height's going to be too much of a problem. But there we go, that's Georgia's. Now I'm going to move on to Farah Williams. Let's go and see. Now she's going to go and represent the Women's Premier League, which is, I'd say, quite a well-desired league to go and represent. She does have power shots, along with, I guess, 93 long shots and 91 shot power. Not bad. I mean, she's definitely got more of a cam/offensive box-to-box card than your defensive one, so I guess it's an okay playstyle. I think there's a lot more playstyles I prefer, or a lot more different playstyles I prefer on her, but, you know, we'll live. So, comparable to Kyber. Now, she definitely has a more desirable league she's covering than Kyber. I think the Women's Prem is a lot more demanded than the Women's Bundesliga. I think Kyber has a better playstyle, though, because I think she had some passing or relentless, whereas, again, I don't think power shot is the best on a centre mid. Comparable to Kyber, she's got 1 less skill move, she's got 2 more weak foot. I do think England is probably a better nation to represent than Germany in terms of getting links and that lot. She's got 1 less pace than Kyber, she's got 2 more shooting, 1 less passing, 1 less dribbling, 6 less defending, and 1 less physical. Now, she's actually a really good comparable card to Kyber, because it was Kyber's first year in FIFA last year, and obviously this is Williams' first year. Kyber was 200k and then only dropped to 180k after a month, so held her value really, really well. 1 month after that, though, she went from 180k to 30k. Again, I think this is due to hero and icon SBCs and loads of centre mids being given out. So, yeah, where do I think this leaves Farah Williams? I think she can easily be 200k, just like Kyber. And I think, you know, by the end of the first month, 150, 180 should hold her value really nicely after the first month. And then after the first month, when we start getting a cascade of hero and icon SBCs, I think she can drop. And now we're leaving it to the player I'm sure you guys are very excited about. Arguably challenging Noor on god-awful heroes, and that's Carragher. Now, Carragher does get himself a playstyle plus of slide tackling. He also is representing, obviously, the Premier League. Yeah, 70 pace, 87 defending, 84 physicality. There's going to basically have to be a massive shift in the meta for Carragher to be demanded. Comparable to Cholera, although what I would say is he's 4 ratings less than Cholera, so significantly more supply. He's got 1 less pace, 5 more passing, 4 less defending, and 6 less physical. Cholera was 100k and then dropped to 40k after a month. Yeah, I also think he's comparable to Mascherano, who was 140k at the beginning and then managed to, I think, drop to, I think it was about 60k after a month. Well, Carragher's rubbish. I think unless maybe he's used for perfect links, maybe he's used for some sort of, I don't know, SBC or Evo in terms of like links. I doubt they'll let you use heroes in the first month or two. I think he starts out about 70k. He's obviously got, you know, a bit of England legendary. He's obviously got Liverpool legend. I think he starts at 70k and then after a month he's 20k. I think he's literally SBC fodder after a month because that card is abysmal. And that is going to go and wrap up all 12 heroes. Hopefully it's given you guys a nice insight into, you know, well, I guess my sort of opinion on them. Again, I'll go through the prices once again. Hazard, I think he's going to start off at about 1.2 to 1.5 million. Hamsik, I think he's going to be 1 to 1.2 million. Noor, I think he's going to be 20, 25k. Howard, I think he starts at 50k. Yap Stam starts at 800k. Sasic, the German woman, 100k. Roberto, I think he starts at 750. Matuidi, I think he starts at 200, 250. Guti, I think he starts at 70k. Maicon, I think he starts at 400k. George's, again, depends on the meta, 250k. Farah Williams, 200k. Jamie Carragher, 70k. But thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.